The world's top 5 or top 10 oil reserves. If you look at the top 5, 3 countries, Iran, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia, are from the Middle East. If you observe the map, this small region controls most of the world's oil. And if I ask you about the top countries with nuclear warheads, you'll hear names like the US, Russia, the UK, France, China, India, and Pakistan, but you will not find even a single major Middle Eastern oil-producing country on the nuclear-armed list. And they will never allow this to happen. You might say, but Iran is making nuclear weapons. Yes, Iran might become nuclear, but there is a big geopolitical game behind this. As long as Israel is the only country in the Middle East with nuclear weapons, Israel will continue to dominate the region. And as long as Israel dominates, the US will continue to exercise control over the Middle East. China and Russia absolutely do not want the US to have this control. Therefore, they are slowly supporting Iran so it becomes stronger, and Iran can become strong only through nuclear weapons. You may have heard about nuclear deterrence. 2 nuclear-armed nations generally never go to war directly because the conflict is contained and prevented. Think about it. Do you know any 2 nuclear countries that have fought a full-scale war? It's prevented. Right now, even if Israel attacks Iran or does anything in Palestine, the world doesn't intervene much. But if Iran becomes a nuclear power, the conflict will become balanced. The world will not allow a full-fledged war. So by helping Iran move toward nuclear capability, some global powers want to balance the Middle East. The countries opposing the US want Iran to become nuclear so that power gets evenly distributed, just like when India became nuclear. Many countries helped Pakistan become nuclear too. Iran's nuclear program is extremely complex. To make a nuclear weapon, a specific type of uranium, uranium-235, is required, but most natural uranium available is uranium-238. This U-238 has to be enriched to produce U-235. The entire process is called uranium enrichment. You must have heard this term often in the news. Iran has currently enriched uranium to 60%, whereas weapons-grade uranium requires 90% enrichment. The primary challenge is this enrichment process. Once enrichment reaches weapons grade, developing the actual weapon technology becomes much easier. Former Israeli PM Netanyahu once explained at the UN using a drawing how far Iran had advanced in its enrichment. But every time Iran advances, its progress is pushed back. Many Iranian nuclear scientists have been assassinated by unknown groups, slowing the program. For Iran, uranium enrichment is not the only problem. Funding is also a huge issue. Enrichment requires massive financial resources. The US has imposed severe sanctions on Iran, so Iran struggles with money. To give perspective, by 1996, the US had spent $773 billion on developing nuclear weapons and $6.1 trillion on deploying them. Deployment costs much more. These numbers are available in a document titled Atomic Audit. Besides financial barriers, Iran faces major opposition from Israel and Saudi Arabia, who do not want Iran to become strong. Before the Islamic Revolution, Iran and Saudi Arabia were friendly, but afterwards a major rivalry emerged. Iran is one of the oldest civilizations in the Middle East with a long history. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, was established only in 1932, yet became the leader of the Muslim world instantly because it hosts the Islamic holy sites. Iran, despite being older and historically influential, has less land compared to Saudi Arabia and is not considered the Muslim world's leader, which Iran dislikes. Iran covers 1.64 million square kilometers with a population of 87.9 million. Saudi Arabia has 2 million square kilometers of land, but only 36 million people. Iran feels this imbalance in land and leadership. Iran believes that as an Islamic nation, it should lead the Muslim Ummah, but instead, Saudi Arabia has become the leader. Iran portrays Saudi Arabia as a U.S. puppet, with American bases inside Saudi territory, while Iran presents itself as the independent Islamic nation supporting the entire Muslim world. This rivalry can be seen in every Middle Eastern conflict. In Bahrain, Iran supported anti-government groups, while Saudi Arabia supported the monarchy. In Lebanon, Iran backs Hezbollah, a Shia-led group, while Saudi Arabia supports the Lebanese government. In Yemen, Iran supports the Shia-led Houthi rebels, while Saudi Arabia supports the Sunni-led government. In 2016, a Shia cleric, Nimr al-Nimr, protested against the Saudi monarchy and demanded elections. Saudi Arabia accused Iran of being behind the unrest and executed Nimr. Saudi takes zero risks when it comes to internal challenges. The Muslim world also remembers how Iran overthrew a powerful U.S.-backed monarchy in the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Countries do not want a similar uprising inspired by Iran. Iran has adjusted its strategies. Earlier, it spoke only for Shias. Now it talks for both Shias and Sunnis because Iran realized that sectarian division harms its interests. Iran cannot become leader of the Muslim world without Sunni support. Take Hamas, for example, a Sunni organization. Even though it has been accused of exploiting Shia minorities in Gaza, Iran still supports Hamas because it helps Iran's objectives. Other Palestinian groups focus on Arab nationalism, but Hamas directly opposes Israel, which aligns with Iran's goals. Iran must oppose Israel. This is essential for its ambitions. First, there is a major religious dispute over Jerusalem. If Iran claims leadership of the Muslim world and doesn't stand with Muslims on the issue of Jerusalem, it loses credibility. Second, Israel is a Jewish state, and Palestine is a Muslim region. The Palestinian cause is deeply important for Muslims worldwide. If Iran advances this cause through its proxies, it gains massive influence. Even if it cannot completely free Palestine, simply struggling and fighting builds Iran's image. Currently, Iran cannot fight directly against Israel or the U.S. Its military, especially its air force, is much weaker. But Iran knows that even during the 1979 revolution, it was not militarily strong, yet it succeeded. Iran fights through proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis, making life difficult for both the U.S. and Israel. Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps has a special branch called the Quds Force, whose job is to support these proxies with weapons and intelligence. The areas shown in red in the mentioned image represent Iran's proxies, who have launched many attacks since 2018. If groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis eventually rise to power in their regions, Iran will gain the most. Iran treats this entire approach as a long-term investment. Even though sanctions have hurt its economy, Iran believes its long-term strategy will pay off. If even 70 to 80% of its goals are achieved, Iran will secure the influence and leadership it seeks.